Hi, everyone, and welcome to New and In Between. I'm your host, Mia Quinn Maddox, and welcome. Today, we are talking about forgiveness. I'm going to have my executive producer, LaTanya, throw me questions. I feel forgiveness was a extremely important part of my faith journey, me getting to my faith journey. So today we're going to talk about my experience and my thoughts and my views on forgiveness. Check it out. Forgiveness for me is kind of like the key to it's the key to letting go. That's kind of what it is. That box that you hold everything into, your hurts and your things that you've done, and that little box, that the key is forgiveness. That opens up that box and allows you to let it go and not harbor anything in your heart and feel any kind of way about things or upset about things. So to me, forgiveness is like a major key. And for me, it's allowed me to it was the key also to my peace. So that's why I feel like today's topic was important, because so many of us harbor hard feelings, or we can't let go, or we hold on to things, or we feel guilty about things. But I felt like my this is my testimony of forgiveness. So welcome, and thanks for joining, thanks for listening, and here we go. Tanya, let's go.
Can you explain how faith plays a big part in forgiveness?
So for me, my faith. So me learning about God and learning about Jesus and learning about just God forgiving us and how he forgave people and how he sent Jesus to allow us to be forgiven. It made me desire to want to forgive. But for me to forgive, I had to gain an understanding of what forgiveness was. So during this time, during the pandemic, now and I don't remember if it was during the pandemic or if it was like maybe later on. But either way, Transformation Church does a sermon series on forgiveness called Forgiveness University. And it was a longer than normal sermon series, and I was dedicated to watching every single one, because I had prayed for forgiveness. And what I've learned about prayer, when you pray for certain things like patience and peace, not even peace, but like patience and forgiveness, and God doesn't just sprinkle it on you like, here's forgiveness, here's patience. He puts you in positions and situations to practice what it is that you're praying for until it becomes second nature. And when I watched his sermon series, it really gave me a true understanding of what forgiveness was. Letting go, allowing yourself to love the people who hurt you, allowing yourself to let go of things that people have done to you. But it was life-changing for me. And I knew, and during that series, I asked God to reveal to me who I needed to forgive. I had an idea. I knew who I had to forgive, but somewhere in my mind, I had some people that I wanted to forgive because I wanted a relationship back with that person. But there were some people that I didn't care if I had a relationship with them again. So it was kind of put out of my mind to forgive them, which, if that makes any sense. So at the end of this sermon series, and this was around Thanksgiving. Yeah, so this is around Thanksgiving. I wrote letters to all the people that I wanted to have forgive me. And I wrote these letters, and I said, in my hurt, I hurt you. Please forgive me. And I felt like asking for forgiveness, and I wasn't looking for someone to say, "Oh, I'm sorry," or "I hurt you," or I was not looking for that. I just wanted to say, hey, I know that I hurt you. My reaction to, regardless of whatever the situation was, if the person hurt me and I hurt them back or whatever it was, I just wanted them to forgive me for what I had done. And in them letting me go, then I was able to let it go. And it wasn't easy. It was not easy. Writing those letters to the people that I know that my reaction hurt them, because an action causes a reaction, and reactions have consequences, and there's all kind of things. But in my time of sitting and being by myself for a few years, I was able to really gain, really sit with myself and take accountability for my part in situations, because regardless of what people do to you, how you react really makes a big difference in the situation. So I had to take accountability for my actions, and in taking accountability for my actions, I was able to release myself and the person who hurt me. So I did that. That was really hard. Ooh, that was really hard. And I really didn't have an expectation. I just knew that if I wrote the letters and I sent them, it was like I was basically, when I put those letters in the mail, I was letting it go. So I wasn't looking for a reaction. Some of them I wanted reconciliation and a new try for a relationship. Some it didn't matter. I just wanted to be able to let the situation go. And good things came from some of it, and some people didn't forgive me, or we weren't able to move past it. But that's okay, because I still don't have any hard feelings. I don't hold any hard feelings towards anyone. Not upset with anyone. I try to get mad and not stay mad, but for the most part, for me, forgiveness is something that you have to do continuously. You don't just forgive somebody once. You have to continuously forgive someone, especially someone who has hurt you multiple times or that still hurts you to this day. Me being able to accept people for who they are, allow them to be who they are, and not have expectations for people allows me to forgive. Jesus said, they know not what they do. And a lot of times people don't know what they're doing. They don't know that the trauma that they've been through their whole life has caused them to do things that hurt people, or they say hurt people hurt people. A lot of us don't even know that we're hurt and that we're hurting people. So for me, it was just, I knew that I was holding on to all these things, and I was mad at all these people because they did this to me, and this person didn't support me in this, and this person didn't have my back in this, and this person used me for this, and I'm not talking to them, and now I'm not talking to this person, and I'm not talking to this person, and now I'm not going to be their friend. And it left me in a season of loneliness. I'm holding all these things against people. I'm angry with this person. I'm not talking to this person. I'm not talking to that person. And it ended up leaving me by myself. And with anger, they say unforgiveness is like me taking poison and thinking that you're going to die. It's like anger is the punishment you put on your body for something that someone did to you. And when I started to gain those concepts and see, I'm like, that makes so much sense. Like, I'm mad at this person. I'm not talking about them. I'm still holding on to this. And they done went on about their life, and no one's thinking about it, or no one's thinking about me, or how angry I am, or how hurt I am. They done moved on to their new relationship or the next person, or, they're living their life. And I realized that it really wasn't affecting anybody but me. And when I started letting go, it was like all that I was harboring in my heart. It's hard for God to give you something new if you're holding on to what's old. There's no space. So my heart was full of all this unforgiveness and, this person did this to me, and unforgiveness towards my mother, and unforgiveness towards my father. And it's like, you don't get to choose your parents. So no matter what they do to you, they're still your parents. So you might as well just, take it for what it is. But it's just letting go of all that. It allowed me to be open to God putting things in my heart like peace and joy and patience and love and kindness. And I started to see the change in me. And I didn't want to be the person who was always causing conflict. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're the problem or the common denominator in problems. So for me to sit down and really, really think about like, oh God, all right. Because of my trauma, because of my situations, or because of my pain, it caused this personality. This personality is maybe harsh, or maybe a little this, or, everything is a cause and effect, but I was able to take accountability for who I was at that time and allow myself to forgive myself, and if someone did something to me, to forgive. I don't forget. Don't get me wrong. I don't forget, but it doesn't affect me in the same kind of way. And eventually you do forget. A lot of the things that I've forgiven people for, they say you're supposed to forgive and forget. It's hard not to forget when the person is constantly doing new things or the same thing or things to remind you of the things that they've done before. But for the most part, for me, in accepting people for who they are, it allows me to forgive quickly. It doesn't mean that I don't still get upset or maybe my feelings don't get hurt, but it's like I look at it like a rubber band popping you. It's like a quick pop, it stings for a second and then it goes away. You don't even remember 2 seconds ago that you got popped by a rubber band. So for me, I kind of just keep that in my mind, like, ooh, that stung, or ooh, that hurt my feelings. All right, let it go. And I find that when I do that, it causes less arguments, and I'm not always debating, or I don't want to do something to get back, or I'm not being petty, or, it's like, all right, they did that. I know this person is going to continuously do this. This is their personality. They don't see nothing wrong with it. So if you want to be around this person, if you love this person, love holds no faults. So there we go. All right, Tanya, what's the next question?
How do you let go of the feeling of wanting to get even with someone who's hurt you?
All right, let me answer that first. What I've learned about revenge is like when someone does something to me and then I do something to them, then they do something to me, then I do something to them. That is a tiring process. It's such a tiring process. You drain yourself trying to do something back to someone because they did something back to you, and then you just end up feeling guilty and hurt even more. So for me, just in my learning of faith, is vengeance is not mine. And this is even before I really started to really gain a understanding of vengeance is not mine. God is going to protect me from everything. So my first real lesson in this and letting go and letting God handle it. The stylist that I worked for when I first started styling, when she let me go in such an ugly way, and my feelings was hurt, and she had owed me some money, and then when she gave it to me, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I was so angry. I was angry that she fired me. I was angry that she didn't pay me. I was just angry altogether. And I was talking to Lori Dobbins. Lori Dobbins was Chris Lighty's assistant, and she managed me for a little bit of time as a stylist. And she basically was the glue to Violator. Like, I'm just gonna say that much. Lori Dobbins was dope. And I remember having this conversation about how angry I was about how this person treated me, and I wanted to fight her. And it was probably all kind of, that it was that angry. And she said, "Me, you gotta let it go. God can't give you nothing if you if you're holding on to that. And if you go and do something, it's like it's not gonna work out for you." And I remember her saying that to me, and I let it go. And I did. I let it go. I didn't send no text messages. I didn't call. I just let it go. And in me letting that go, a few months later, I was given the biggest client of my life. And I feel like because I didn't focus on getting her back or doing stuff to make her upset, it allowed me to focus on my goal at hand, which was becoming a stylist. And that was my first experience with not first experience, but one that holds a lot of weight in my mind all the time. So for me, it's just like to put the energy in getting someone back. I just don't have the time. I have been petty, like, do things that is gonna, or push buttons. But as far as like where I'm at now, it's just not worth it for me. When I do something to get someone back, or if I do something, it ends up being more stress, more anger. It's all ends up being stuff that affects me. And I'm trying to be in my soft girl life right now, so I'm letting that go. I'm just trying to let everything go. I can't control people. I can't control what they do. I can't control how they treat me. I could just control how I react. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't even care about revenge. I'm too busy making episodes on my podcast. So There we go. No revenge.
Do you still get hurt by people that you've forgiven?
Oh, all the time. All the time. Some of the people that I love dearest, like that I love, hurt me the most. Because I know love is patient, love is kind, doesn't hold fault. Because I love these people, like I truly love them. I accept them for who they are, and it's just a rubber band thing. So yeah, no, people, if forgiveness, like when you forgive someone, it's not just a one time. People do, I mean, shoot, I do things to people all the time that I didn't realize I said that might have hurt their feelings, or I spoke to someone in a kind of way, or I, liked thumbs up a text instead of hearted it, or people have their own things too. So my thing is, I know I get forgiven all the time, and I'm not perfect. God forgives me all the time, because I go and do things that I know I ain't supposed to be doing all the time. So it's like, if God forgives me all the time, then I have to forgive people. How am I gonna allow someone to do something for me that I don't do to people? So yeah, no, the people that I have forgiven have hurt me again and again and again, but because I'm practicing forgiveness, it starts to become second nature. I know they're not trying to hurt me. I know that person loves me. And if they do something to hurt me, I know it's not deliberate. And if it is deliberate, I'm empathetic to where they're coming from. Or honestly, sometimes I just don't even care. I'm like, listen, I know I didn't do anything to you. I know I don't harbor any feelings toward you. So if that's on you, sorry.
I want you to describe the difference between constructive anger and destructive anger, because constructive anger is something that you do well. So constructive anger is when you get through a moment in the moment to get a positive result, while destructive anger is when you harbor feelings and let it build up until you get so mad that it affects you.
It's crazy that you say that I do that well, and I had to ask you what it is that I do, because I didn't even realize it. And you explained to me that, like, for me, I want you to tell me what I've done. I want to be able to tell you what you've done, and I want to have a solution. I don't want to wait until tomorrow. I don't want to wait until 2 weeks down the line. If I've done something to you and you come to me and you're telling me that I did this to you, it's not a debate of your feelings being hurt or not. I want to be able to take accountability for what I did and move forward. Or I want you to be able to hear me out, what you've done, and we move forward. And for me, that's important, because when I wait for tomorrow, my mind starts going, and then I'm angrier. And then now I wait till the third day, and now I'm remembering things that you did before and stuff that you did before. And now I'm basically that little box of forgiveness. I'm filling it up with all the faults. Oh, and then they did this, and then they did that. Oh, and they do this all the time. And then tomorrow, I put it in that box, and it's like it grows mold, and then it spreads all over the box, and then I'm mad about something else, and then I'm mad about something else, and then that person probably doesn't, not that they don't know what they're doing, or if they do, even though if they do know what they're doing, now I'm snappy, or when they enter the room, my stomach is in knots, or I'm getting I'm uncomfortable in places because now I'm around this person who I'm angry with, who doesn't even know that I'm angry with them, or it's so many things. But because it's so many things and all that sounds like a lot, is why I just say, you are allowed to feel how you feel. Let's talk about it. Let's move forward. I also want to know, so that if I'm doing something, I don't continuously do it. Sometimes people do things you don't even realize what you're doing to someone unless they tell you. So for me, I want to talk about it and move forward. And I'm not, I don't destructive. I don't want to do things anymore that affect me. I don't want to do things anymore that make you be stressed out, and now you're snappy, and now you can't be nice, or you're impatient, or where I'm at now, this peace that I feel, this joy that I feel, I want to stay there. It's delightful. I don't want to go back to those moments of me holding on to things and not forgiving people for things that they don't even realize that they did, or that they're not going to take accountability for, or that maybe they're not sorry for. So with that being said, for me, I just want to work through. I don't want to be angry. Anger is it's the punishment you put on your body for something that someone else did. I just don't want that. So I like to be more constructive. I like my anger to be constructive. I'm upset. Let's figure this out and let's move forward. I get mad. I don't want to stay mad.
What is the meaning of true forgiveness? And do you feel like you've gotten to the point in life where you're able to truly forgive?
God forgives me. I wouldn't be sitting here if he didn't. So because he forgives me, I feel like it's a principle for me to forgive others. The meaning is in Our Father, and the Our Father prayer, Our Father who art in heaven. It's in that prayer. There's certain things that I'm learning that are the blueprint to life is in the Bible. So if God forgives me, why would I not forgive other people? It just doesn't. It's kind of like the light switch flicked on, and that's the meaning for me. It's like if God forgives me of all the things that I've done, all the things that I do. I mean, I'm not perfect, so why can't I forgive other people? And when I realized that when I started seeing, when I let things go, or it just gives me peace. So for me, the meaning is just it's not so much a meaning, it's an action. God forgives me for all the things that I do, so I feel like why wouldn't I want to forgive other people? And it's not easy. It's definitely hard, but it's something that I continuously do over and over and over and over and over and over. And I feel like anything that you practice for a long time will become second nature, and it's starting to become second nature. I accept people for who they are, and when they do things that hurt me or may cause me to not want to, just whatever it may be, I'm able to let it go, and my day ends up being better.
Now that you have an understanding of forgiveness and practice forgiveness, what were some of the hardest moments of forgiveness for you?
You know what was, so my dad passed away, and my sister had to make a decision to pull the plug. So when people say pull the plug, they literally mean pull the plug. My dad was on life support, and then my sister had to make the decision to pull the plug. At that time, me and my sister were not speaking. I also was not speaking to my father. So I'm going through the most traumatic thing you could ever go through. And I'm not speaking to my sister. I'm not speaking to my father, but he's now in a coma, so I can't speak to him. And I had to fly to Colorado to basically say my final goodbyes. And in that moment, it was like, this person, you're never going to see them again, ever. And nothing that they've ever done to you even matters in that moment. Like nothing that my dad has ever done or not done or was supposed to do, it didn't matter in that moment. And it made me realize that this could have been a little easier if I let him go. If I let the things that he did go. So that was a hard, like, the person that's supposed to love you the most, who damages you the most, now you have to forgive them for everything that they've done, because none of it matters, because once you leave this place, you're never going to see them again. That was a super hard one. That was the hardest thing ever, because I knew that when I left, I would never see him again. Give me a second. Yeah, talking about my dad makes me super emotional. And even though I forgave him that day when I had to leave, like I basically had to say my final goodbyes. And then I still had to forgive him over and over again, because even in his passing and him becoming my responsibility to bury, it was a lot. And I continuously, and as I go through therapy and as I'm growing and I'm realizing the trauma that my dad's absence caused in my life, I have to continuously forgive him, because his actions, I don't think he ever knew that his actions or his choice to do a drug would affect us in the way that it did, or our family in the way that it did, in such a way. So my dad is definitely, that was one of the hardest. But when I did that, it made me realize that sometimes the things that the biggest things really don't mean anything. And I was in, so during that time I mentioned that I wasn't speaking to my sister. I made a bad decision in choosing a partner who, for whatever reasons, whatever brokenness in me attracted the brokenness in him, and his brokenness broke me more, and it was a bad choice. I turned a lot of red flags green, and it ended up affecting my whole family. And it was a really bad situation, which is crazy because I ended up with the situation just ended up being terrible, and it really affected my family. And this person ended up going to jail, and I felt like for the amount of time that he was in jail, 8 years, that I was also in jail. Even though I was out, I was in jail. I was confined to being by myself. The situation hurt people that I didn't even realize that it would have hurt. But in the midst of me having that time to really take accountability for things that I've done, and to really work through that and learn forgiveness and forgive myself, I was able to restore my family. I didn't realize the discord that I was causing from what I was holding on to. So I was able to take accountability, and in the midst of doing that, it wasn't even about who did what and who did what and I did this or you did that. It was just the fact of, you know what, it's done. We can't change it. I'm letting it go because I want to move forward. And that decision to forgive myself, to forgive that partner, to forgive my sister, to forgive my father, to forgive my mother, to forgive, just to forgive people. It allowed me to just be more of a peaceful person, a nicer person, a kinder person, and also to let things just roll off my back. Like I started to realize that, everyone has their own trauma and problems that they're going through, and it doesn't make it a reason or suffice for you to hurt people, but it just gives me a reason to be more accepting and let things go. Even just forgiving that partner, forgiving lots of my exes who have done things, who have cheated or broken my heart, or betrayal. Betrayal it's hurtful, having things stolen from you, having mean things said about you by your family, or you saying mean things. It's so many things. But for me, all of those things end up filling up my pockets and filling up my heart, and they affect me. Now I can't sleep, and I'm angry all the time, or I'm stressed out, or I'm missing out, or I'm sad, or I'm lonely because of a simple thing of letting something go. So it's just become a practice for me now. That was hard. My dad, forgiving that partner that was destructive towards me, that caused me to be destructive towards my family, for forgiving my family for forgiving me. That is a lot. And because they are my family, I have to continuously forgive them. I'm sure I do things to get on everyone's nerves or hurt them, and not knowing, or whatever the case may be. And they forgive me, and I forgive them, and it just makes for for better relationships. And if that's what I pray for a better relationship with my family, for better friends, then I have to practice better things. And forgiveness actually helps me to empty my hands so that God can give me what He has planned for me.
What is your biggest win in forgiveness?
My biggest win in forgiveness was forgiving my sister. Basically asking for forgiveness from my sister and forgiving my sister, because we don't talk all the time, but this was different because she had my nephews, and what I did was, and that was affecting them. People who didn't have anything to do with anything that we were fighting about. It was affecting them, and it was affecting my mom, and it was affecting so many people. So that was my biggest win, forgiving my sister. That was my biggest one. That was one that just brought back so much joy to me. It made me realize, like, Dad, girl, you sat around holding on to this stupid stuff. You know your sister. You've known your sister for her whole life. She is who she is. but she loves you and you love her. And that just made me understand love even more. So forgiving my sister was my biggest win in forgiveness. My dad was that was my first practice. That was my first, whoa, this is intense. But my sister was my biggest win. Forgiving my sister was my biggest win.
And what was your biggest loss in forgiveness?
My biggest loss in forgiveness was not forgiving my father sooner, because I held so much anger towards him and so much resentment towards him. It just didn't, it closed my eyes to allow me to see that he was hurting. Addiction is something that if you don't, we all have addictions. Some are stronger than the others. Some affect us in different ways. Some ruin families, some don't. But at the end of the day, because I was so hurt, it didn't allow me to be empathetic or to even allow myself to accept my father for who he was. He's a product of his environment. He was a product of an era of an era of life that took him out. But because I was holding on to like, he's not there, he didn't choose me, he chooses drugs, he this, da da da. It just made me angry. It made me so angry. It made me so angry towards my mother. It made me so angry towards, it was the cause of so much of the stuff that I went through my life, that I'm like, dag, if I would have forgiven my father a long time ago, I probably would have been it's not a probably where I would have been. I could have experienced so much more happiness than what I've experienced as far as like anger and just, being that kind of person. So I feel like my biggest loss, and it's a loss because now he's gone. I didn't get to experience the joy of my father, of forgiving him and him knowing that I forgave him. So that's my biggest loss. But for every loss there's a win, and that I will never. I'll try. We try hard. We do. And I get on her nerves and she gets on my nerves, and we won't speak for a few days or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, that time really, 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 I feel like that was my biggest win. And I can say that all the time. People recognize the change in me, and that was important. So, yep, my sister, forgiving my sister was my biggest win. So shout out to my sister.
What are some strategies or suggestions that you can give the audience on forgiveness?
Pray. Read the Bible. Gain an understanding of forgiveness. But for me, honestly, it's like, I know I'm not perfect. And because I'm not perfect, and I won't ever be perfect, and I know that I've done things to people and I don't want it held against me. That's just I'm like, do to others what you would like have done to you. So I continuously repeat that in my mind, but I try to accept people for who they are. If you're a controlling workaholic and have to always be involved in everything, and I know that, then when you do that, I shouldn't allow myself to get aggravated or annoyed or angry, because I'm accepting you for who you are. And that's the biggest thing for me, is just trying to learn who people are and accept them for who they are. Everyone's not going to be nice. Everyone's not going to be the most fabulous friend. Everyone's not going to be the most fabulous coworker. People have their own stuff too. So for me, it's just accepting people for who they are and not for what I expect or what potential I see in them. For what they give you is what it is. And if it isn't what you like, just, that there's nothing I could do about that. And that's okay. Like, say I'm in a situation, someone cuts me off. I try to breathe through it quickly so that I'm not speeding up to cut them off or cursing them out, or now I'm in the car and all that's affecting is me. That person doesn't even know me. So now I'm in my car cursing and carrying on and raising my blood pressure, and that person is long gone. So for me, it's just like trying to breathe through, or just think of things in those simple ways. Like, the person doesn't even know me. I'm angry at them for what? They don't even know me. This is affecting my day. Now I'm angry at them because they cut me off. Now I'm speeding. Now I get into an accident. Now I'm late for work. Now it's like, it's those scenarios that play in my head that I'm like, I'll let it go. I feel like when you gain the understanding of forgiveness from God, it becomes, and then you practice doing it all the time, just letting stuff go. It's like, off your back. This is really not going to affect me. Or, all right, fine. This person is being nasty. I won't even think about them tomorrow. That's it. For me also too, it was important to set boundaries with people that I forgive. So I can forgive, but I also set boundaries, because I know this person, I've accepted this person for who they are. Now I can set boundaries. I know that if I'm dealing with someone who does things that hurt me, or something that I don't even put myself in the position, so I stop it at that. This person I can't travel with, this person I can't hang out with, this person I'm not gonna go do this with, or this person I know that I'm already going in the mindset that they're gonna be nasty, so why am I allowing them to upset me? It's easier to just let things go. And the more I practice just letting things go and forgiving people, the more that I'm forgiven, and it just ends up being so much more better. I mean, just more peaceful. That's what it all ends up being, like my soft life era of peace. When I let things go, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. And I like that. So I suggest that everyone start forgiving. It's the best thing. And that's it, really. So forgiveness. I hope that if you aren't a person who forgives, that this inspires you to become a person who forgives. Forgiveness is freedom to me. It's 100% freedom. So with that being said, hope you guys are inspired. I hope you guys are encouraged, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode of New and In Between. Click, like, and subscribe. Follow along on this journey. Thanks. Peace. New and In Between. Check it out. YouTube. Click, like, and subscribe. Subscribe. Thanks.